Okay, guys, we're out here at the range and we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to talk about drawing the pistol, talking about loading the pistol, clearing the pistol, doing all kinds of things that you're going to have to do at the range, or you're going to have to do in your home or on the job or anything of that nature. So this video is geared towards security guards, and you should have a pistol of your choice. It should be it can be either, in Colorado Springs, it can be a polymer frame striker fired pistol. It can be 380 up to 45 in caliber. And for your wheel guns, you can have it from 38 special, or even 357, double action only. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's go ahead and go with the polymer frame striker fired pistols, your semi-automatics. First thing you're going to do is clear the firearm. A tip to put on safe. Some firearms have an external safety, some don't. This Canic does not have an external safety, but I'm still going to put it in my head. Attempt to put on safe. Then I'm going to clear the source of feed, if there is one. So if there is a magazine inside of it, I'm going to remove that magazine. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the action. Now I can open and lock it. However, if you can't open and lock it, you're going to have to hold it back so you can see inside. You're going to do a 3-point safety check. The chamber, the slide face, and the magazine well to make sure it's completely empty. Once that's complete, you let the slide go forward, point in safe direction, and you're going to pull the trigger. Let's talk about loading it. Obviously, a full magazine. Now, these are full metal jacketed rounds, non-hollow point. These are not acceptable in Colorado Springs to use for security purposes. You're supposed to use either semi-jacketed or full jacketed hollow points. That's as per city code. There's two ways to do this. Once I have my firearm cleared, I can load my magazine and then pull back the slide and release, observing the round go into the chamber. That's one way. The other way, and the most preferred way, is to open the action, because you open and lock the action, because now you can see inside the chamber, the magazine well, and the slide face. You can see if there's anything broken, anything that's not supposed to be there. And then you can grab your full magazine, insert, allow the slide to go forward, or the action to go forward, observing the round go into the chamber, and then holster. Okay, let's talk about stance real quick. So stance. Okay, I'm a right-handed shooter. So if you're left-handed, just switch it. Okay, I'm going to say strong hand, support hand. Now my strong hand side, I need to have that foot just a little bit back. Okay, it could also be the opposite. Doesn't matter. We're looking at principle here. You want to be mobile, stable, and balanced. Okay, and my strong foot side is generally backwards a little bit from my weak side or my support side. All right, knees are slightly bent. Okay, and I'm leaning forward at the waist. Now, this is going to manage recoil. It doesn't matter if it's a pistol or a rifle. If I'm leaning forward at the waist, I can manage more recoil this way than if I'm standing straight up. Okay, so that's the stance right there. Knees slightly bent, toes, shoulders, hips, and skeletal alignment towards the threat, the immediate threat. Now, maybe that's not possible if you're moving, for example, but ideally you want this kind of a stance so you can actually recoil manage the firearm. The next thing we're going to talk about is grip. When we grab the firearm, and I'll cover this in my draw video, but when we grab the firearm, we want this webbing of our hand up into the beaver tail. And then we want this thumb out of the way. Don't put it here, keep it here. Because then now you're going to take this hand, and I'm going to do it to the camera. For example, you're looking at me, let's say you're the threat. I'm going to take my thumb, and I'm going to point it to the camera. See how my hand is completely bent over. Now I'm going to take my firearm, and I'm going to place my thumb here and cover up all this black. Just like that. Now notice my thumbs, they're nice and relaxed. I'm not pressing in or anything like that. I'm nice and relaxed here. That way, in my draw video, in the next video, from here, the depressed ready, and I call it the 3 position from the draw, as I present, these 2 hands are coming together like a vise. So the grip is just like that. Finger out of the trigger, up against the frame, thumb out of the way. Take your hand, point it towards the target just like that. You want your thumbs kind of parallel with the frame, okay? And then maximize friction with the support hand here. All right? Notice I have my finger is pointing, and also my thumb is pointing at the target if I was going to shoot a target, okay? That's grip. Satellite mistake picture. I can't really show you that here, but basically, if you're using iron sights, you want to be focused on that front sight post. The front sight post, let's say, is a football. The rear sight post is the football field goal, okay? So you want to put that football in the football field goal evenly and make sure you're focused on that front sight post. So that's sight alignment. Sight picture, again, you're going to be focused on the front sight post. And then if you're using a red dot like I am, you're going to be focused on the target actually. And as soon as you see a streak of red or green or whatever color dot you have, you're going to pull the trigger. Now let's talk about trigger squeeze and trigger reset. Okay, so in my personal opinion, the grip and the trigger squeeze are the 2 most important fundamentals of all of them. So I'm going to put my finger in the trigger when I'm ready to fire. I'm going to come back till I feel resistance. When I feel that resistance and I think it's going to fire, then I'm going to pull very slow to see if I'm at the edge of the wall. If it moves at all, if the trigger moves at all and it doesn't fire, that means I was not at the edge. Okay? So here I go. I'm pulling really slow, pulling really slow, pulling really slow. It moved just a little bit. I don't know if you could see, but it moved just a little bit, which means I wasn't at the edge of the wall. We want to be at the edge of the wall. Not at the wall, but at the edge of the wall where that sear is about to release the striker in this case. There it is. So that's the wall. That's what we're going to do. Touch. We're going to find that resistance. Come to where we think the wall is. Okay? And then when we think it's there, if it does actually fire there, and we're going to do this dry fire, of course, then we found the edge of the wall. Okay? Another thing. A lot of us have been taught to use the tip of our finger. Well, don't do that, okay? What you need to do is find what's comfortable for you. Now, if you're using the tip of your finger and you're right-handed, you have a tendency to push the gun left. If you're left-handed, you have a tendency to push the gun right. So, my suggestion to you is put your finger all the way in and then pull from there. Don't pull from your fingertip, pull from here, okay? Find the edge of the wall when you think it's there and concentrate. Pull really slow until you hear a click. And then if you hear a click, when you think you're supposed to hear a click, you're at the right spot. Trigger reset, I'm not really going to go over that. It's basically just resetting the disconnector inside of the firearm. The trigger reset is going to happen in a natural manner. To get better at it, you're going to have to practice at the range. Okay? You got follow through and breathing. So follow through if you have an imminent threat, for example, you're going to go over all the fundamentals while maintaining a good sight picture on that threat. You're not going to get out of your sight to look over. You're going to stay in your sight or have the gun pointed towards the threat, maintaining all your fundamentals until that threat has ceased to be a threat. Breathing, you're going to have to control your breathing. Obviously, you're going to be amped up. If you have to draw your firearm underneath an emergency situation, an imminent threat, let's say, you're going to be just completely amped up and probably breathing heavily. So a good technique is to do diaphragmatic breathing. So instead of breathing from your chest, like watch my gun here. If I go, see how my gun goes up and down, okay? Breathe in, push my belly out. Breathe out and pull my belly in with my core. My firearm isn't going to move as much at all. So here we go. Okay, so I'm breathing. Breathe out. That is called diaphragmatic breathing. It takes practice. So you can practice at home. You can practice it wherever you want to. You don't have to have a gun even. You guys are practicing diaphragmatic breathing. It's actually going to help you calm down as well. Okay, I know this to be a fact with some of my customers, okay, that are super amped up because they've never shot a gun before. It works. Drawing the firearm. Now let me go ahead and caveat this with, you're only going to draw your firearm if there's an imminent threat. It has to be an imminent threat, period. If it's anything less than an imminent threat, then don't draw your firearm. If it is an imminent threat, by all means, draw your firearm and stop the threat from being a threat. Whether that's, the firearm is a deterrent itself, or whether that's shooting or whether that's shooting the imminent threat, you have to stop the imminent threat from injuring you or from injuring others. It's more of a 4-step process, okay? The first step is grabbing the firearm. When you grab the firearm, you want to be high up into the beaver tail. This webbing of your hand needs to fit right in there. Wrap these 3 fingers around. Keep your finger outside of the trigger until you're ready to fire. And then that's 1. 2, now my target down range. I'm going to take my left hand. I'm going to bring it to my chest so I'm not flagging myself. And then I'm going to draw and turn the gun to the target. Right here, I can actually shoot the immediate threat if I needed to. So just go over it again. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3, I'm going to start building my grip out right here at the chest. And then after I got that built out, I'm going to present. As I present, I'm going to start putting my finger on the trigger and then fire. Here's the thing. You have to be very careful as to not put your finger on the trigger early. What I mean by that is you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, obviously. So, 1, 2. I can actually start building my grip and depressing the trigger here and then going out the 4 and fire. That is the draw process. You can call it a 3-part draw. You can call it a 4-part draw. Whatever you want to do. But basically, you want to get it from the holster to the immediate threat as fast as possible. So it looked like this in a smooth fashion, okay? One more time. Talked about the draw process. We've talked about the fundamentals. We've talked about all that stuff, okay? This is what we're going to go over on the range. We're probably going to shoot at 4 yards. We're probably not going to go any further past that, okay? Because I want to make sure you have the fundamentals down, because the likelihood of you pulling your firearm in a self-defense situation is not very likely. However, if you do have to do that, I want you to be super prepared to make a well-aimed shot so that you can shoot the minimal number of rounds. And you need to know what an imminent threat is. The defense of yourself isn't going to stop there. Then you have a legal battle probably ahead of you. Maybe the DA is going to charge you with, something other than self-defense, for example. when you come to the range, we're going to be practicing, of course, making sure that you're going to be qualified. So in Colorado Springs, you have to meet a 75% qualification standard for your security guard's license. In Denver, you have to meet an 80% qualification standard. And then for anyone who's watching this that wants to get their Colorado concealed carry, you also have to maintain a 75% accuracy score on the range. Now, all of those are as per the instructor. I'm going to train you to a standard that is way better than most people out there, okay? Because I really want you to know how to fire and be intimately familiar with the firearm. So you're going to pass. Trust me on that. And you're actually going to be better than 90% of the police officers out there. Guaranteed.